Hello and welcome to Check 1 2, where we give you the lowdown on testicular cancer by talking to survivors, advocates and supporters here at the world famous podcast studio Glasgow. In today's episode we speak to David McNeilage. David found his testicular cancer while at the peak of his physical health, which is an all too common story for men going through testicular cancer. David is someone who faced the challenges of testicular cancer head on and quite forthright, and really had a sense of who he was even going through this diagnosis. So ladies and gentlemen, David McNeilage. If you just want to kind of introduce yourself as such and give us a little bit of background in your testicular cancer story, and then we can just get chatting for there.
Aye, so I'm David. I got diagnosed with testicular cancer last August. My journey started probably in the February. I thought I hurt myself at the gym because I was bruised like across sort of my groin.
Right.
So it's probably happened like December before, so say like December 22, and I left it a few weeks. I thought this bruise isn't going away, and it was on like both legs, but it was kind of still on my right leg. So I went to the local GP, the Regent Centre in Kirkgate in Kirkintilloch where I'm from, and I seen a doctor, and he looked and he thought it was. He did say it was swollen, but he was like, I think it's your hypothesis is good. Like maybe you've injured yourself at the gym, but I don't think it's that. I think you maybe just got a wee blockage down there. So I got antibiotics, and he said come back. Did a urine test, and I never heard back for it, and it did go down a wee bit. So I just kind of left it, thought nothing of it. Got to the May. I was away for my pal's really good at CrossFit, so she was away doing the semi-finals in Berlin. So we all three of us went. So she did really well, and we were there. And I was winning the shower. I was kind of like, that's still there. Like I'd noticed it got a wee bit bigger. So I thought I'm going to go back to the GP forum, see what's happening. But when I came back the week later, I got a really bad case of food poisoning. So I was out for like 3 weeks on and off with food poisoning, at work, off work. So it kind of put me back a wee bit. And then it was in the July I said, right, I need to go get this checked. So I phoned, and when I told the receptionist at the GP, she was like, right, okay, I can't get you in the day, but I can get you in on the Thursday. So I was like, that's no problem. So I went, and the doctor checked me. He said, I'm just going to send you for an ultrasound just to be safe. He didn't say anything, but he's like, I'm going to fast track it. So I was all right, okay. Then so he's like, you'll get a letter within a week probably, and it'll be within 2 weeks after that, which he was bang on right. It was about the 8th of August, because I think this was about the 21st or 22nd of July I went to him. But 8th of August went, and then at the ultrasound they were just like, yeah, we need to speak to urology. Actually, I didn't know what it was because I didn't look into it. So I just kind of thought, right, to myself, that my ball's going. I says, I'm right with I've injured it. I thought it's just going to go. Because then they said the doctor he went away to speak to urology. Says they're busy, they can't get you, but somebody will phone you. He said, right, no problem. So the GP phoned me, that was a Tuesday. He phoned me the Wednesday night. He says, has anybody been in contact with you? And I was like, nah, no one's phoned me yet. He's like, right, okay. He says, they will definitely phone you. He says, right, okay, cool. So I hadn't told him at this point. I just kept this all to myself. So again, I seen like videos online, and I remember it was like a rugby player. I can't remember who it was, but that was like the Friday. His videos up, and they're saying what happened. He's like, I lost my ball in a rugby tackle in training. Like it twisted, and I thought that's something I've done.
Right.
So I was going to the Rangers game on the Saturday, and I was at work, and they phoned me. They tried me a couple of times. I tried to phone back because I missed it. But it was like a outgoing number only. So when they finally got me, the doctor was like, look, we need you to come in for speak to you about your growth and do some blood tests. So I didn't think any of it. I was like, okay. So this was the Sunday, the 13th of August. So I went in the morning. He's like, what time can you come in? I said, whatever suits you. So he was like, come in about 9:30. I was like, no, I'll be in at 9 then. So I was sitting there, went up to urology, told me the ward, like ward 54, whatever it was. And I walked up past the first bank and nurses, but there was no one there. So I went round the next one, was the big whiteboard with my name, like big massive letters, David McNeilage, and I thought, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
So I just spoke to the nurse, she's like, go sit in that room, somebody will be coming and see you. So sat down, waited maybe like an hour, and then she kept coming in, the nurse, she was like, look, they're doing their ward round, she will come in, it was just a bit busy, there's not much staff on a Sunday, so that's fine. So I was sitting waiting, and then the doctor that phoned me, he was there, but the consultant was there. And she was like, we're going to speak to you, we're going to take you in a different room, we just need to see this other lady just now. I said, yeah, that's fine. So she took me in another room and she just sat me down. She's like, you have testicular cancer. And I was like, right. She's like, you know you have testicular cancer? I was like, no. She turned around and looked at our doctor and she's like, did you not say? He says, he told me that growth had to come and give blood. I said, but I was driving at the time, so maybe that's why he never said. And she's like, well, you have cancer, you have testicular cancer. I was like, right, sound cool. And then she just kind of went on for there to asking me, she's like, have you got kids in? I says, no. So she was like, right, we need to do the sperm bank. We need to go for a CT scan. And then we're going to take away your ball.
Right.
So she just kind of told me just like that. And it was like probably 10, 15, maybe as much as 20 minutes of just pure like medical questions. And then she's like, are you taking this all in? Because I went myself, as I said, I hadn't told MD. So I was like, yeah. And I just repeated it all back to her. She's like, you're clearly quite independent, strong. And I was like, aye. And then after like all the medical questions finished, she just like, her like personality came through and it just really, really helped. She was just like, you can beat this. She's like, it's this big cancer. You could be at this end, you could be at that end, you could be in the middle. But until we actually operate on you, we don't know where you're going to be. So I was right, okay. And she's like, I don't want you to think this is just my decision, that it's rushed or anything. She's like, you've been spoken about, and I can't remember what you, but like a crisis meeting. All the departments have spoken about, this has to happen. This is the best option for you. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. So then she was like, I think you should maybe take time off work and all that. And I was like, nah, I need work to focus on something to keep my mind ticking, because I think if I just go in the house, I would just end up searching on and just looking at all the bad stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And then she was like, just do me a favour. The last thing she said before she left the room was like, just live your life. Don't change. Like, you've not done anything to get this. This isn't your fault. So she's like, if you want to go to the gym, go to the gym. You want to do this. Just live your normal life. I think that's probably the best bad advice I got in that period. I thought it was really good.
And it's good that she was, one, as frank as that, but then as supportive as that.
Aye,
as
definitely.
well. Yeah. Because
I needed that. I don't do well if you do like what do you call it? Just tell me straight, and that really worked for me. Because she told me exactly everything that was going to happen, and basically to a word that happened. So I just took their advice. I never looked up anything. And from where I was, like up to only time I looked up anything was when I got home after surgery. Yeah. Everything else I just left to the doctors, because they were like, we're gonna try and get you all these appointments, because as a Sunday we might not get them today. So I was probably in for like, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes or something after being told. And then the doctor came back and he was like, there's a doctor that phoned me. He's like, look, we've tried. I can't get you any appointments, but we'll try again tomorrow. So I was like, okay, cool. So he just had to take my details for a sperm bank and all that, and then like took blood. And then he's like, that's you good to go today. Just obviously tell your family and all that. And I was like, yeah, of course. And when I was leaving, I said to him, so you're saying like, oh, this needs to happen. I was like, how quickly are you talking like from now to surgery? And he just kind of looked up and he was like, if you do sperm bank, CT scan, say this week, he says, latest next Monday you'll be operated on. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, yeah, we're not going to mess about, this needs to come out. He says, I'd be very shocked if it went any further than next Friday, but you'll be like, middle of the week next week, you'll definitely be operated on. Which he was right, I was operated on the following Wednesday. Right.
Which is probably pretty accurate, considering you, like, if they've had that MDT and you've been spoken about at that as well, like they've probably went, no, this has got to be quick, which is good as well. The fact that people have acted quickly for you. Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. So when, so see afterwards, like the bruising that you had, were they? Did you ask about that? Was that sustained because of your cancer? Or was it?
He said that he thinks it was just kind of maybe just I've hit it that much force. The first doctor was like, it's probably just bruised. He says, if it went right across, I would say, he says, but because it's just kind of more prominent here, he says, you probably just then like brought it really hard down on yourself. Right. So I was right, okay.
Aye. And did you, like, at any point until the words testicular cancer were said to you, like, did you think about that? Did you worry about that? Or was it just, it's likely just injury?
I just thought it was injury at the gym, and I thought, all right, okay. Because you hear stuff happening, like footballers have it, or like you can twist it and it has to go kind of thing. I thought maybe it was something like that. I've done like just severely bruised it or just whatever, but cancer never had my head once now.
Yeah, which I suppose maybe helped you as well.
Aye,
you know?
Definitely. Because I think if it did, I'd probably maybe would have looked up on that. Yeah. Whereas just being like, nah, it's not that.
Yeah.
because I felt fine otherwise.
Yeah, and having like been through that, like that initial process, and just keeping that to yourself, like going to your appointments yourself. What was the conversation like when you were like telling your loved ones? Like, how did that go?
So basically, just when I left the Royal that Sunday, I just basically went, right, you need to go home and just tell your mum and dad. So basically, just drove straight back. Reversed in the driveway, and that was right. I usually sometimes will sit in the car and check my phone, and I was like, nah, I need to go out and do it. So as soon as I walked in the door, my dad was coming to the living room, and I was like, I need to talk to you. Do you want to jump in the living room? He's like, and my mum was in the kitchen. I could see her. She obviously thought this is bad. I said, no, you just need to come in the living room. So I just told him, and like I hadn't broke down or anything up till that point. I'd kept all the girl in the hospital, and I just said to him, I says, look, I've been in the hospital. Did a scan during the week. I says, I've got testicular cancer, and I just remember being like, I'm so sorry. I've let you down, that I failed you, and I just broke down crying.
Yeah.
And my dad like picked me up, bear hugged me and all that, and then yeah, for the next like probably 20 minutes again, 40 minutes, just spoke to him. Just feeling just like you're letting them down. It's mental.
Yeah, it's such a weird place that you can go in your head that you kind of like that you'd feel like that you'd let them down, and it's like it's like it's almost like you've made it like it's my fault that this has happened.
That's just what I feel like.
Yeah,
like your head, like your brain knows you didn't need, want, or ask for this, but like how you feel, just how you feel, and your heart's just like you've let them down, you've failed them and all that. And I just remember like it's just a mental. That's probably the hardest bit about it, is just that kind of. They say like you definitely ran by your heart. You know what I mean? How you feel, your brain just like to kill you're an idiot and all that, but you just how you feel is how you feel, and it's not going to change. Yeah. Which is a mental thing.
Yeah, aye. And how did like obviously your parents were there and they supported you, but what was their initial thoughts? Because sometimes I think you can't see through the veil because your parents are still going to try and be stoic and strong for you. But like, how do you think they felt when you've told them that?
Obviously, just absolutely gutted. Just my mum crying and all that. She was obviously really upset and all that.
Yeah.
My dad kind of held it together. I think he's quite private with that, so he said that later on. He had a wee crying that, but he just kept it together for us. But I hurt when you tell them that. Do you know what I mean? Big time. You just feel like, I just keep saying that. You just feel like you just feel guilty because you've just told them that horrible news. You know what I mean? They know it's not your fault. You've not asked for it or anything, but just really tough. And I remember being in the hospital after they told me, and you're just like, that's a strange period after being told, because you're like, there was a toilet next door, so I went to go for a pee, and I came out and I just looked in the mirror and I was like, this is all your fault. I mean, if you just went sooner, you might not need this surgery. And then your mental, you're saying that your brain just goes and just like, this is going to happen, you might end up dying. I was like, no, that can go right in my head. I mean, I just was like, I'm not dying, I'm going to beat this. I was like, I know I'm strong enough to do it. And like, we lost my grandpa to cancer when I was wee, and I was like, I'm not putting for a family that again. I will beat this. You know what I mean? You just get all the wee reasons and all that. Like going to Ibrox with my dad and all that. I'll go there again, and I'm not putting like my niece and nephew through it. It's not happening. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's such a tough thing to kind of look at yourself in the mirror afterwards. I had almost the same type of thing. I went for a pee in the hospital, and then you look at yourself and you're kind of just looking in the mirror going, I've got cancer. This is fucking mental. Like, how's this happened? You know,
just like, you're a dick. This is all your fault, but it's no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just feel like that, and then you've got the reasons why you want to beat it. Obviously, it's like for you, but obviously you want to beat it for everyone else, you know.
Yeah.
So I used that and been like, turned the negative into a positive in a way, and just be like, nah, they're not seeing me go through that. Do you know what I mean? I will beat it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is tough as well, because it's like you're almost having to parent your parents, because you feel like that as well. Like you feel like you feel guilty for one it happening to you. Oh, apologies, I don't know how that's happened. You feel guilty for that happening to you, and then you feel I have to look after my parents so that they don't feel bad for me, and you kind of try to put on this strength and this veil of, no, I'm going to do this, but you're talking to yourself more than anything, eh? Yeah,
definitely. Like, that's why I never felt like poor me, why me. I just was just felt awful for them. You're put them in this horrible situation, so you need to beat it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's what you're saying. I didn't like I didn't let any of them take me to any appointments. I'm not putting them through that. Do you know what I mean? Because you just don't want to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know you need people. It's a mental thing. Like, you'd rather go through it alone, so you don't hurt anybody, but you actually couldn't go through it alone.
Yeah.
Because you need them. You need everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's the big thing, eh? Like, you do. You don't understand how much you actually need the people around you when you're going through something as big as that. How did you broach telling like your pals and that? Was that an easy thing to do?
It kind of was easy because like my mum was lactose. She's like, "Do you want me to?" I can't speak about it anymore. Because this was like probably like 1 o'clock. My pal Megan, she plays football for at the time as part of the Thistle. So I was like, I was going to her game. I'm still going to go to her game. So my mum would phone all my 2 big sisters, my wee brother, my wee brother. She phoned my gran and that. So my little brother phoned me. And he's like, "You need to tell them. You need to tell your pals." I wasn't going to say it because like, on that day we were going to plan a holiday.
Right.
So then I didn't want to put in the group chat, "Oh, by the way," and ruin all this, like, "Oh, we're going to do this, going to this, we might go here and that." He's like, "David, you need to tell them." So like on the way to the game, like, my little brother phoned me, my big brother phoned me, my sister was like, "You need to just stop phoning me. I need time to myself, just trying to like get this through my head, what I've got." And then I usually sit next to folk. I just stood at the back to myself because then my phone's going, folk are texting and all that. And obviously they just want to help you. But at the same time, you're just trying to be like, I can't deal with this now. So I was like, "Tell her, don't tell her." And I was like, "You're being a shite bag, you need to do it." So she was like to me, "So what'd you do this morning?" This was after the game. I was like, "Nah, nothing." She's like, "Do you not go to the gym?" I was like, "Nah." I said, "Oof." And I just went, "Aye, this is it now." She says, "No, I was at the hospital." And I says, "I've got cancer," and just told her. And she's like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Aye, I went for a scan during the week and all that," and told this morning. And she's like, "You're joking." And I was like, "Nah." And just chatting. I mean, obviously, when you tell your mum and dad not, they're obviously like, obviously very, very emotional about it. Everyone was, but like, you can't really be funny with them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought if I had someone, I wouldn't be funny, but you actually realise you need people to be funny, but you need people to like, make jokes about it because it helps you so much. So I told her, and she was like, as I'm going through this, going surgery, and after surgery, I'll find out if I need whatever I need, like chemo, whatever. And she's like, "If you don't mind me asking, what one is it you're losing?" I was like, "It's my left one." And she's kind of paused. I knew she was going to say, and I was like, it's my favourite ball that's going, do you know what I mean? So I beat her to it, but we both just laughed. And that was the first time, and like that morning I laughed, and you actually needed it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, basically she was like, "Look, I'll tell Lois, and I'll tell Jen, you tell Jack." Because like my pal Jen, the one we went to watch in Germany for CrossFit, she texted me, "Oh, do you want to go for a coffee?" I was like, "Oh, I'm busy." And Jack, he's a doctor, he was actually in the Royal doing a shift, and he's like, "What are you doing this morning?" I was like, "Oh, nothing, I'm just chilling, just telling people white lies." I ended up texting him saying, "Mate, I was at the hospital this morning." Because he couldn't make it that night, and then basically, yeah, that night just went to Megan and Lois's and just spoke about it. Just like, just need to deal with it. There's only you can do, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I kept saying, I just put like shoulders back, chest up, eyes forward. That's all I did. Not that when I was at work the next week, like there was points where I just had to go away, and I had this wee like this staircase, what it's like not used. I just go up there and sit for 5 minutes. Could be 5, 10, 15 minutes. And I just like cried during the day, but you needed it. It's mental because like, I've never been like that. But I could be walking to tell someone to do something or whatever, and you just go, "You got to cry now. You're going to break down." It's mainly that wave of emotion. So I just would go do it, and then below staircase to a toilet, just go wash my face, then go again.
Yeah.
So you're still getting on with your day, but it's not like it doesn't affect you. Do you know, it is mental.
Aye. And it's mental how like it can like affect you in different ways. It's like especially like your personality type. Like so, see me, like I'm a crier. Like I'll greet at anything. Like I'll give me an Andrex. What do they call it? Advert. I'll greet at it. But see, when I was going like that initial first few, I can't remember like breaking down about it. I felt more numb about it.
Right.
But it's funny because like the more you kind of talk to guys on here or kind of like just like through meeting guys like through the charity and stuff, you do find that kind of back and forth of like guys who are usually more quite stoic,
Aye.
you know, become more emotional, and guys who are more emotional become a little bit more numb to that. And it's an interesting like we flip that I've noticed when I speak to folk. And I think you're right, like see like again throughout the podcasts and the episodes that we've got out, the amount of times we talk about humour, and I think especially with your pals, like it helps break the tension a little bit.
Aye, 100%.
You know, and it's just it's their way kind of showing you love, I suppose, right?
100%. Because we was like, I texted my group chat with all my pals from school, the boys and that, and I was like, "How do I approach this?" And I was like, "I'll just need a bit of texting," because then you feel bad texting that you feel that you should say. phone them or whatever, but then you realise you couldn't phone everybody because you just would break down all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky that one of my best mates, Ryan, I work with him and work in McNeilage, and he was brilliant for me because only like, so I went in the Monday, and my manager Stephen, he was actually off. He'd caught COVID that day. It was actually probably lucky for me. I hadn't seen him yet, so he just went home. So I was like, right, and I didn't know this till about probably 10 o'clock. I didn't know this because I thought maybe he was just in late or something, or maybe had to go to a meeting or whatever. And I said to Scott, the sales manager, no, David's away with COVID. He says he tested positive, but it's all right, okay. So I went up to David Santy, and he's the director. And as I need to talk to you about something, he's like, all right. He said, I've got a meeting. This is, but do you mind me asking what it's about? And I just went, I've got testicular cancer. He was just pure shocked, looked to me, you know what I mean? Because I've worked there for like, since I was 17. And he's like, right, okay. He says, I said, I need to speak to you, Raymond Dean. I said, but I don't want loads of people knowing.
Yeah.
Because obviously all your family know and all your friends know. And when you see them and now they see you, but they see cancer, obviously, they get upset. So I was like, that's fine, I can deal with that there. But there's places I don't want it, like work, I don't want many people knowing. Like the gym, I don't want people knowing, so I can just go there and I can just be Dave. Because at the house, all your pals, you're like cancer Dave now.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? The way I see it is like, in a week I went for like Dave, the cancer Dave, the Dave 2.0, really. Because you can't be the guy you were before, what you went through, do you know what I mean? So I told Ryan before I went to work that day, because he knew. Mum's friend Angela, she works with us, and she knew. And she seen me that morning, I could see her like nearly crying. It was a shame, obviously, because like, she's known me my full life. So David Santy brought the meeting, and he was like, look, this isn't about me, this is David needs to tell you. And I just like, look to Raymond's our supervisor, and he was yard manager. He says, look, I've got testicular cancer. I got told yesterday, and they're both like, what? And he's like, what'd you say? And I says, he's like, fucking hell, they just couldn't believe it. So I was like, I'm telling you because this week I'll need to go to like, a sperm bank, a CT scan, have all these appointments, but I don't want them to know. I just want to be treated the same. I don't do well with sympathy. I says, one of the times I will break down, I'll get angry. I says, I'm not having that, and that's my thing. I'm not putting that in people, do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Because you're already angry enough about it and feel guilty enough about it. So I was like, people just need to see me, and that's fine, that'll help me. So that's exactly what I did, and to be fair to them, it was brilliant. It just kept me normal, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so once you've kind of, like, you've spoke to your work and then you've went through and you've got your operation and that, what was your recovery like after your operation? Like, how was that, like, just physically for you as well?
Yeah, the consultant, she told me it'd be like, because she was like, you clearly like going to the gym, and I says, aye. She's like, 2 weeks you'll be fine. So I thought, brilliant, 2 weeks. But you don't really get much information away or like about what your recovery will be. So I'm lucky that like Jack's a doctor, my pal Lo's a doctor. So one of her friends was a consultant urologist. She got me all the information saying that, look, he shouldn't really do this for 2 weeks. Like if he wants to go, like he could bike or whatever at the gym, shouldn't lift weights for 4 weeks. So I thought, right, I had that in my head. But going home, I remember the first night, I actually felt all right because you're still obviously got the drugs in you. You know what I mean? You feel fine. So like the next morning, I sat up in bed and I thought, I'm doing quite well here. But it was like the second day when that wears off, you realise this is quite sore. Do you know what I mean? Like you had to go onto all fours to crawl out of bed and all that.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most frustrating thing. It wasn't that, because after maybe the third or fourth day, it's more just discomfort rather than pain. The pain was gone, but it's just I couldn't get comfortable doing it. Do you know what I mean? And that's the worst thing. Try to explain to someone I'm uncomfortable rather than I'd actually rather been in pain. Go, I'm in really sore pain. People go, all right. Well, how are you uncomfortable? I just am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could sit in one position for an hour and you could move and go to toilet and come back, and the next time you've moved 10 times in 5 minutes trying to get comfortable.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Aye. I think as well, see, like even the sleeping part of it, because I'm a side sleeper, so it didn't matter like what side I slept on. It was either weight going on top of like my incision, or it was like it felt like it was pulling through.
Aye.
So
Aye, definitely. As I said, after the first night was fine because obviously you're still, because I left hospital, I was like, I need out.
Yep.
And then obviously you're still full of the drugs, so it's fine. But you said like the second night, that's when it starts getting, like you couldn't maybe sleep at night, you're just sitting awake for ages. That's probably stuff people don't know about. It's just, it's annoying. It's more annoying than anything. You're like, I just want to go to bed, I'm absolutely shattered, but you just can't get comfortable to sleep.
Yeah. And it's such a lonely experience as well, that point as well, because like, you know, everybody else is in bed, you can't text anybody because
Aye.
like they're all sleeping, or
Exactly.
unless you've got like folk who work shifts and maybe on the night shift and stuff like that, you
Aye.
could maybe get a message, but you're sitting wide awake, sore, you know, like
Aye.
you've maybe had all the painkillers that you can have for
For the
that day, and you're just left there like, and you're just shattered, but
Aye, it's annoying.
can't get any rest.
Even that, you think that I wish I could go a walk or something, but you actually, like, I could hardly walk, do you know what I mean? Or you're walking and it's like you're so slow. It's like I couldn't go out and walk now, and if I fell, I couldn't get myself back up, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating. You're lying there thinking, I can't even really do anything to make yourself sleepy or anything.
Yeah, because it was I had the same thing happen. I was like, you were given that advice, like if you can keep moving around because you don't want to like kind of be sedentary all the time. And I remember trying to go out for a walk, and I could barely walk round like where we stayed at the time. You know, it was like this wee up a tiny wee incline and round, and it's probably about 250, 300 yards total circle like, to walk. And I couldn't even, I got up to the wee hill bit and I was like, I'm done, I'm not to walk back into the house, because you're walking at 45-degree angle, you know, you're that sore. And I think that's the thing that, you know, you don't realise, and it's certainly, you know, I made the mistake of looking up what the orchidectomy was before I went in for my surgery. But you don't realise like how big a surgery it is. You know, it's like they're cutting through a lot of those abdominal
muscles
and things like that. No wonder you're really sore, eh?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Because as well, when the consultant told me about the surgery, she was at pointing here, but obviously she must have meant the other side. And I just took it wrong, because I thought I was getting cut like on my stomach. And I remember like after surgery, obviously I was told like you need to eat, drink, go to the toilet, you can't be sick. The doctor told me, I was like, your stitching is fine. He says, but it could burst. He said there's no reason why it should, but that could happen if it starts bleeding too much, you're in for the night. I was like, right, okay, fair enough. And I remember I went to pee, still thinking it was there, and like, I pulled down the jock strap basically. And I remember I just brushed all the stitches, and I thought, I was like, I've burst that. I remember just standing there, thinking, I've just burst all my stitches here. I didn't realise it was there. They came in and checked you, but you don't even take it in. I mean, you're still like, you're a bit drowsy for surgery, and I just was like, I mean, I had to look down, but thankfully it was fine, do you know what I mean? But I thought, I've just bust all my stitches, he's going to come in. But obviously it was just it's so sensitive, it was just that felt more, but it was totally fine, thankfully.
And with it being like such a fresh wound in that, like any brush a bit, you're like, oh my
you just
God.
think you've done it, but it's just because it was still so fresh and sensitive, obviously.
And obviously when you've had that kind of surgery, you know, the amount of painkillers and stuff that you're on, for that to still be as sore as it was, like shows you like how big a kind of surgery it was. How did you feel like going in for that? Like you've obviously got to the point where you're having to, I don't know what it's like through in Glasgow, but in Falkirk, like they run through the checklist like 3 times where you're just about to go under, and you're in this like tiny wee box of a room, like about to get under the anaesthetic. What was your feelings like at that point? Because it's obviously something you've never been through before.
It was alright actually. Like, I remember he came in the morning, because I had to go on the Tuesday night. So I went on the Tuesday night, and then in the morning they came seeing me. He's like, look, you're an emergency. This is the first one. He says, any space comes up, you're in. He says, the only reason you wouldn't be, I says, if something worse came in, or like somebody being in a car crash or something. He's like, yeah. So he must have came round and seen me about 9:30. Something, and obviously, you know yourself, you're like, you're not eating for 12. So he's like to me, he says, right now you don't have a time. He says, I know it's annoying, but just please don't eat. Do you know what I mean? Like, that if it comes to a point, we'll tell you, and you'll be in tomorrow. So I think, oh geez, I want this done the day, do you know what I mean? But obviously you're in the right place. So if it went in the next day, it was fine. But comes in with all the junior doctors, and he shows you, you know, and they examine you, you know, and he's like, is it all right if my colleague examines you? Yes, of course. This is, they need to learn, so I'm not really bothered by it, do you know what I mean? That's when I'd say, like, people like, what was it like getting examined? I'm like, well, after the first time a doctor's examined you, you don't really think anything of it. It's like there's no embarrassment, it's all gone. So as you know yourself, when they came in then, like, they drew on my leg where to cut and all that, and obviously you need to sign it, so they talk you through it and all that. So he's like, look, hopefully it'll be done the day, and you see me. So that was about 9:30, and I was in my gown and that. So I was like, I'll just take it off, I'll just change back. But it must have been about 10:30, 11. He came in, he's like, me and you are on. So get your gown on again. I said, oh, brilliant. So for then, I was like pacing the room, just wanting to go. And I was like, let's just get this done, get this over with. So I was fine. And the porters came in to take me down, and I was like, right, let's go. No, I need to go in the bed. I found that probably the worst bit. It kind of embarrassing. It isn't embarrassing. You're just kind of lying there thinking, I'm fine now. I don't need to be in this bed.
Yeah.
But obviously take you down and all that, and then probably the worst bit was just waiting. See the pre-surgery bit.
Yeah.
Was ask you all the same questions again. You answer them and you're fine. You're just sitting waiting to go in. I found that the hardest. You're just waiting and seeing everybody's in the same situation. Then there's people doing other surgeries. So I found that the toughest. And I'm just like, just take me in. I just want this done. And then about half one, get taken in, and I found it fine because the nurses were brilliant. And then they just like calm you down. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny that being in the bed getting trolleyed about though when nothing's happened yet.
Yeah.
Like, because even though like you feel kind of vulnerable, even though nothing's happened, like you're kind of sitting there and there's somebody over the top of you
And someone at the bottom of
talking.
the bed.
Yeah, and they're, like the porters are always dead nice and chatty.
They're just funny, because they know what you're going for, obviously, and they just try and keep you spirits up with their class.
And it's a weird experience. Getting trolleyed through the hospital when you're kind of like, you don't really, you kind of stiffen up a little bit, eh? You know, it's funny when you're talking about like being on the emergency list. Because the day that I went in for surgery, it was kind of the same thing. It was like I was definitely going to get operated on that day, and there was a wee room, and my wife came with me, and we're sitting. And there's maybe about 6 or 7 other guys, and we're all waiting around. And I was meant to be in at like I think 8:30. My surgery was kind of booked for 8:30. Came and went. You know, still waiting. You know, it's coming. It's now approaching 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And I'm going, what's going on? But then you suddenly realise that the nursing staff, there's a really heightened level of tension with the nursing staff, and then they're pulling people out one by one. And then some folk are going, oh, I've got to go home. And like their surgeries were cancelled. And then they came in, they spoke to me, they went, just to let you know, your surgeon's been hit by a bus. So the morning of my surgery, he was on his bike coming into cycling to Forth Valley, got hit by a bus. Thankfully, he lived. Pretty banged up, obviously. And I think it took him a while to get back to work. But thankfully, because you're an emergency, like you're going to be getting done the day kind of thing, eh? So I had that whole morning and then into the kind of afternoon. So they were going to send me home after my surgery, but because I was still in a bit of pain, like when I woke up, like see how much pain you are in an hour, and they're like, how much pain are you in? And I was still in quite a bit of pain, I've got a weird metabolism when it comes to like medication. So see, like there's certain painkillers like just didn't affect me, you know. And I remember my wife telling my mum, who had worked in like a pharmacy and been a nurse and things like that, like the regiment of like how much like X, Y, and Z I had got, and my mum went, that could take out a horse. How's he still awake? You know, but it was just a weird thing. So I ended up staying overnight. So I had that whole kind of 2 days of kind of being in the hospital, just like, oh, I just need to get home now. You know, it's like you just feel it, eh?
Definitely, because I was already, the anaesthetic was there, so when I get wheeled back in the room, as many as I could not move my legs.
Yeah.
And that is me, like, obviously I've been operated on your abdomen and all that, but that feeling is just like I couldn't move my legs or nothing.
Yeah.
So you just feel again quite vulnerable. And then the nurse came in. She was like, do you want to eat? I says, aye, please. So she got me like toast, biscuit and all that, coffee, painkillers. And then Dr. Vanskin, who did the surgeries, look, everything went fine. And you're sitting there, like, I still can't move my legs. It's just mental. But I could start like moving my toes. But then, so I wasn't a lot of pain that way. And then people like, you'll probably go back to sleep. But I was awake right after it. I couldn't go back to sleep after waking up. I was like dead awake, dead alert. So I text all my pals and that. Text my family saying that's me done. Everything's went well, so just waiting now. And I was like, so obviously you need to move about, and I just want to walk, and like you've got a bag of stuff there, like you take in Lucas and folk gear, all this, and I just want to actually walk and get it or something.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And then I phoned my mum after Dr. Vance came in. She's like, what did he say? Just like I said earlier on, he says, like, I need to do eat, drink, toilet, can't be sick. ain't like the wound bursts or the stitching bursts or it bleeds, I'm in. And she's like, what would you rather? I said, I'd rather just go get operated on. I don't want to be in here again. Do you know what I mean? I want to go home and have my own bed.
Yeah.
But I thankfully I get home that night.
Yeah.
And then it's mental within an hour of like that feeling that I'm never moving my legs. Basically within an hour I was up and walked to my bags. I hear the nurse saying like he's already walking about and all that.
Yeah.
So I was just determined to get home because you just like, it's an amazing place and the staff are unreal. Couldn't say anything nice about them. You're just like, I'd rather be in bed. Because it's an amazing place at the same time. It's also nobody really wants to be in a hospital.
I know it's such
a mental sort of strange thing to say.
Aye, but it's one of these weird scenarios that you never really expect yourself to be in as well, eh? Like to be in hospital for something as big as that.
Yeah.
As well. So you've had your operation. That. So when was your first contact with the beatson then? At what point was that?
So I was off for like 4 weeks after. So basically, the doctor came in when I was to speak after surgery. Look, he says, because he actually told me that morning, he says, I operated on a guy yesterday and his growth was 5 times the size of yours. So I was all right, cool. And he says, like, so hopefully, but he was like, I would give every guy a round of chemo. He says, if it was up to me, you would get a round of chemo. So he's like, but it's over the beatson now. You'll be in their care. He said, they'll get in contact with you because we'll send them basically your ball. They'll break it down and see what the growth is and whatnot. So I was like, all right, okay, fine. So I think it was probably the Friday before I went back to work. So it was probably about 4 weeks. He did say it'd be about 3-4 weeks. And then they phoned me. I was actually going to get a coffee. And the folk in the shop were speaking to me and all that, because I go there every day and they were saying, asked me how I was and all that. And then I went and I had to take the call and the beats and saying, look, can you come see us next Friday and we'll chat to you? So, no, sorry, they gave me a date. I think it was like 6 weeks after surgery. It was in September. Probably September weekend it was, so it would be 6 weeks after surgery.
Aye. And it's again, like, you been for this area and like knowing what the beatson probably is, like, how did that feel like when you that first day walking up and like you were having to go to the beatson? Does that kind of make it even more real that you've had cancer?
I guess so. I just had in my head, because Dr. Van said to me, like, I'd give you chemo. I just put in my head, I'm getting chemo.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. Not like, oh, people like, but you might not. I says, look, I don't need, might not. I just need, I'm getting chemo. If I get told, I'm getting chemo. So I just kept that in my head. And then, again, I was like, asked folk to go. But I didn't ask my mum and that. I said, I need someone that could make me laugh again, like Megan, but she couldn't make it. So I was like, no, what, you can't make it. I'm just going to go myself. And I was deal with it. So went in, and it's like nerve-wracking when you go, obviously, because you're thinking, that's the first time really you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because beforehand, like, I'd told I had cancer, you like need to go, as I said, like sperm bank, CT scan, then surgery. Everything you know is happening. That was the first time you're unknown, really.
Yeah, there's a clear pathway for you. Aye.
So it's probably the most nervous I've been going in thinking, right, what's happening? And then I seen the doctor and she sat me down and she said to me, look, your growth was 2.3 centimetres. 8/3 would give you chemotherapy. And I was, all right, okay. And I said, so it's that close to it, am I getting it? She's like, nah, you don't need it. So that was just a big weight lifted, and you feel then like, that's it. Obviously it's not, you're still getting all the checkups obviously for the beatson, and I will be for like 5 years, but that just felt like it's gone then. Because I can just move on now. Yeah. Because I don't need chemo, and they know what it is, and it just felt then that, right, I can move on now. Yeah. You still need to go and get obviously the checkups and the MRI scans, but they're just there to make sure you're all right. Yeah. So that was the moment I was like, I'm done then, I've beat it. Yeah. Which was good. Yeah. And to have it and catch it, then obviously it's quick enough that you didn't need to get the chemo. Yeah. And that's the other type of stories that, you know, we kind of have to get out, especially on the podcast and letting folk know. It's like, it is that, there is that two extremes. There's guys who, you know, will get it. I need rounds and rounds of chemo. Rounds and rounds, yeah. Or get the big surgeries. And thankfully, you and I never needed like the RLNPD or whatever it is. I can never get the acronym right. But thankfully never had to go through that. So we're having it when you got it. Did you get one of the
you've got this boxes.
Yeah,
Then
because it was sitting there waiting for me. The doctor's like, this is just from the charity Cahonas. This is for you. And regardless if you need chemo or it, and this is your box, so you can take it home. I was alright, thanks very much.
Aye. What was your thoughts on that? Like, just more curious than anything. Just
so I didn't know.
us.
I'd never heard of Cahonas with her, so I didn't know what it was going to be. She's like, it's just this box, this charity does it, and I thought it was a great idea.
Aye.
When you open up, and obviously the stuff in there like is designed for guys that are going to be in, obviously getting chemo. But I think it's just really nice thought, and obviously there's so much thought behind it. But like obviously the notepad, the pen, like toothbrush, all soap, stuff you might forget, and obviously like the ice towel and all that. I thought it was really good. Obviously chemo and all that. So I thought it was really good.
Aye, and it's something that even like I think that's that was always our hope, because when we went up to kind of pitch it to the Beats and to say like this is what we're trying to do and want to do, like they kind of looked at it and like that's a lot of stuff for guys who might not necessarily go through chemo, but it's like it's not just about the chemo experience as well. It's just to let you know that there's folk who have had it, who work for the charity. The charity is set up to kind of educate and support guys who have been through it. And I think the thing with the boxes is that everything in it can be used for going through it, but it can be used for just in everyday life as well. Do you know? And that's the good thing. It's like, and it's more of a token of like, you've had this thing. You know what I mean? And just know there's support out there as such.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you spoke to anybody like at this point? So you've been at the Beats and you've been told that you're not going to need that chemo. Had you spoke to then anybody else that had testicular cancer at this point now, or?
Unfortunately, one of my wee brother's pals had it.
Right.
And my sister's a slim consultant, so one of her members had it. They both look, he will want to talk to someone, but we just need to come at a time when he's ready, because they both want to text him, but they've both been through it, we know what it's like. So it's probably, I hadn't texted either of them when I went for surgery and all that, so it was in the lead up to the Beats and just to find out information and that. And it was really helpful actually.
Yeah, it's funny how like obviously the stats for testicular cancer are low compared to other cancers, but sorry. Yeah, the stats are low compared to other cancers, but see, whenever like when I started the job and I was going out and doing talks and stuff like that, see the amount of people who you'd go knew somebody who had it, you're kind of going, the stats don't make sense then, because like there's no way that 50 people within a 25-mile radius, and it's, but obviously over the years and things like that, there's still that a lot of people get it, but it's just interesting that you had two people that were in your close proximity that you could have got in contact with as well. And it's and obviously being a kind of big Rangers fan as well, did like you would have known about Craig Moore and his story of testicular cancer and things like that as well. We had one of the guys on here, Craig, who he reached out to him. Did you ever reach out to him, or?
No, not that. I just kind of just the people I spoke to was just like Finlay, wee brother's pal, and it was just basically him I spoke to, and he was really good. He basically gave me that this is what will happen, and then what he said would happen is basically what has happened. He says, if you don't need chemo, it'll be this is what the Beats will do, and he was bang on correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And have you had any kind of like lasting effects? Obviously you're still quite recent for your surgery as such, but have you still got any kind of pain or numbness, or is there anything kind of happened like that?
No, there was for a wee bit after, but not now. But again, it was like, as you said, some of the stuff they don't tell you, which is probably quite good, because it probably skate at the time when I went back to the Beats, and I think it was after about 6 months appointment, so it had been about the March time this year. Now that you might get some pain in your abdomen now where your scar is, because that's when now all your tendons are joining together again.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's mental. I thought it had been healed, but it just shows you it takes a long time. So in the gym sometimes there was some movements then that would be uncomfortable to do. It wasn't like agony, it was discomfort is the best way to describe it. Because now they're fine really.
Aye.
No, I've not had really any lasting effects. At the start it was like probably like peeing a lot. Like, there was times I thought, is this going to be something that happens? But then I think it was just your body adapting and it went away. So I've not really had any ongoing effects or anything. Nah.
Yeah, because there's weird things that that have cropped up in the episodes, but even just for myself personally, it's like phantom pain's a really weird one. So it's like even yesterday, like I'm 10 years out nearly, and I'm sitting in the car and I'm going, God, my like it was my left ball that got taken away, but I'm going, my left ball's sore. Like in my head, that's what I'm thinking, but even though it doesn't exist, I could feel it felt like it was sore. So it's like you get stupid wee thing. You can get stupid wee things like that as well.
Yeah, because that was it was never sore. Like my left ball was my right one that was sore.
Right.
But obviously that was one that was fine because they checked all and all that. But my left one just obviously had the growth. But no, it was never sore. But aye, none of them like that. But I have been back. The care you get at the beaching is amazing because they phoned after my appointment in March. They phoned me saying, "Look, we found an abnormal reading in a non-specific blood test."
Right.
So I was like, all right, okay. She said, "Don't worry about, but I've already booked you a CT scan, so the stuff I do for you is amazing."
Yeah.
And then I was saying, right, it was Colleen who's the head nurse, the nurse practitioner. So she phoned me. So I says, look, like I said to you when I seen you in December, you were saying that different things could be in your blood. Like you could have ate something, or you could have been unwell. That could raise your blood. You could have trained. There's like I trained that morning before I came. Is that? She's like, that'll be it.
Yeah. Right.
So she was like, I won't cancel CT scan yet. She's like, can you come in and give blood again? And I was like, yeah, no problem. She was like, how about Mondays? We can come in the morning. She's like, yeah, come in tomorrow then. So I went in the Friday, and then she phoned me the Monday. She said, you were right. It was just that. You're absolutely fine.
Yeah. She's had her baby, by the way. I don't know if you knew.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Aye. Obviously, because like we kind of deal with them quite closely. So, it was a few days ago. I think she had her baby. So,
nice.
It's nice to have a nice bit of news for folk as well.
Definitely.
But they're great, and I think that's the thing. It's like Nicola was. I don't know if you ever met Nicola. She was my nurse at the time as well, and obviously with Cahonas now working so closely with the hospital and meeting the staff, you do get a different perspective on like the job they do, and it's incredible. As a patient, it's incredible, but when you see them and what they advocate for you, out with that as well. I suppose then it's just you've went through this kind of, like you say, you went from Dave with cancer to Dave 2.0.
Yeah.
What are the positives and maybe negative things that have maybe changed for you since?
No, I probably say positive.
Yeah.
It kind of just shows you what you can deal with. That's just, you see that as someone, like if you were to say like you've got cancer, you think, oh, you couldn't deal with that, whatever, but you can. Like you just need to treat it as any normal problem, even though it's not. I get that, but like however you handle any situation, that's what you need to do. And that's what I did, and that's how I get through it. So it just shows you are strong enough really to deal with anything.
Yeah.
If you can deal with cancer, you can deal with anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's such a valid point. It's certainly something that made me know that I'd changed as well.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of go, I still, again, nearly a decade out, I'm still like, I've had cancer. That's so weird. Like it's such a weird thing, but it's like if I can get through that, I can do this or I can do that. And it's always been a kind of a weird source of pride that I got through that.
Oh, definitely, because I think it's like as guys, just in like Britain, you're just like kind of you move on for it. Whereas other nations, you'd be like, I did this, and folk would be like, showing it all the time and pure proud about talking about it. So it probably is something you talk about more.
Yeah,
because it's the wee stuff that would probably bother you. It just doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah,
and stuff you'd maybe think about and just like there's nothing now. Do you know what I mean? You deal with it when you deal with it.
Yeah, aye.
That's the best thing. If you can deal with that, you can deal with anything.
Yeah, and it certainly adds an extra layer to like your mental strength and your resilience. It's something that again you maybe don't. I've had peaks and troughs of that, but that's just by and by. But in the most, it's always been a little bit kind of like there's other things that maybe can I talk about maybe testosterone or like the kind of after effects of surgeries and all that can play on you a little bit. And I take it since then, like going to the gym, back to the gym and fit and healthy and all that.
Yeah, back to the gym, fit and healthy and all that. And like, again, stuff like when maybe bother you, like not doing a workout as well, whatever. After that, I'm just like, you're working out again, so you're fine. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you do get annoyed, but it's not as annoyed as I used to be.
Yeah.
And obviously then met Eleanor through the gym, and that's my girlfriend, but we became a couple after it. So that was a big thing. Like, suppose I didn't really think about like how do you approach that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would you go on Tinder and be like, I'm a cancer survivor, I've got one baw, do you have a bit? She just took it like, she knew me from the gym and she also knew I went through, and she just never ever bothered her.
Yeah.
Never has.
Did you get the prosthetic or did you opt
No.
not for? Yeah.
I never even gave it a thought. I thought when it's gone, it's gone. But it was like my mum looked into my gran, like my wee cousins and that, and they were like, you know, you can get a fake one. But again, Dr. Vance told me at the time, he was like, if you thought about prosthesis, I didn't even know I could get it till like a couple of days ago. I hadn't even thought about it. And I said, I'm not really bothered about it either way. I said, what would you do? He says, well, I wouldn't personally recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, because like, you can't say it'll sit the same, it'll feel the same. And I was like, and obviously there could be complications. I was like, nah, I don't want it then.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it. Then it was when I went back to the Royal in like November last year, obviously the consultant again after about, well, it had been like 12 weeks, whatever. He was like, the reason we don't recommend it as well, because if you need chemo, it delays it.
Mm-hmm.
That's already okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, you can have it if you want. I said, nah, it doesn't really bother me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's all right having one, you know what I mean? It really isn't there.
It's just the kind of first shock when you go, it was more not in the hospital, but when I get home the next day and you're like, they're knowing you're doing, you're like, fuck, I do have only one ball.
Yeah.
It's just one ball, and you just kind of laugh to yourself, but that's it, really.
And
It's just normal now.
I know, yeah, it just feels normal. It's sometimes like in our bathroom, we've got kind of like maybe a 3/4 kind of mirror thing, so it's quite a big mirror. And sometimes when I kind of stand up after having a bath and you kind of see the scar and you go, oh yeah, there's only one ball. There's only one ball there. You kind of look at it and go, oh yeah, it still looks a bit odd, but
that's one as well. Like the scar that does die down. Do you know what I mean? You think, fuck, that's going to be prominent for ages. But like, I use stuff like bio oil on it, and it took it down and obviously helps it. But then now it's just kind of, it is there. You know it's there, but sometimes as you say, you do forget.
Yeah, that's a great shout to kind of bring up as well. Like, if you are worried about, you know, anybody who's maybe going through it and watching this, if they are worried about like their scar and how that would affect maybe body image, like bio oil is such a great thing, you know.
Because even Eleanor says that sometimes, she's like, I can hardly see it anymore.
Yeah.
But you do forget it is there.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? So
I think pregnant women use it on their bellies. Aye.
And again, Megan, she had a scar on her hip face surgery
Right.
as a football, and she said, I use it, and it helps obviously, and takes it away, but also can help the scar die down, and if it's itchy or whatever, it can help. So I definitely recommend that to anybody.
Aye, oh good. Sorry about the coughing, man.
No, that's all right.
And again, like I like, obviously, Eleanor, knowing your story and things like that, I take it there wasn't like a massive conversation about, you know.
No, but it was actually quite good. We spoke about it quite early on. In my calendar, I picked her up for the train station and we just kind of spoke for a few hours about it. She was just wanted to know about it, really, and it was just dead easy to talk about. It wasn't embarrassed at it.
Yeah.
Never be embarrassed about it, and just, she just like, just asking about it. So she obviously wants to know to make sure you're all right, but obviously, because you're like, it would be a shock just to go on a date with someone and be like, but she knew everything, so.
Aye. And I suppose just rounding up then, you know, giving advice to kind of other young men out there that are maybe going through, maybe at the start of their current journey watching this, or even guys who are kind of just after surgery and things like that. Is there anything that you discovered along the way, or that you kind of wish had been told to you when you were going through your cancer journey, I suppose?
Obviously it does get better, like it definitely does get better, but don't be as hard on yourself as I was at times, and it takes people to say, look, you're only 8 weeks out of surgery, you know what I mean? So like, always don't just sometimes look back and be like, fuck, I'm out of surgery, do you know what I mean? Like 4 months or 5 months, whatever it may be, do you know what I mean? You could still you are going the right path, you are going to get better, but be kind to yourself, you know what I mean? 100%. I think sometimes guys are quite hard on themselves and do this, but just think back to where you were and you'll always be like good moving forward. Yeah.
And have you lessened in your kind of your guilt and your hardness on yourself like since?
A wee bit, aye, but it's still there. And again, as I say, people, if that's like if that's my cross to be out of this, then that's fine. Because it is hard to explain to people. People don't get it at the same time. That they do get it, but don't. But I'm like, you only understand that if you go through cancer, which I don't want you to go through. So if you never understand that, means you've never went through it. So that's a good thing. So I take that negative as a positive and be like, if that's my thing, it does die down, but it might be the rest of my life, and it is. It is. I'm not really. It's fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I am better, and I did beat it. So you just know logically, like, aye, you're just being an idiot, but it's still there sometimes. Aye,
Yeah.
it has went down a wee bit, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And then, but that's only like coming out 15 months of surgery, and it's went a wee down. So in 5 years, I might not think about it again.
Yeah.
But if I do, then I do.
Which is great as well. Like the fact that, you know, that has died down in the year only 15 months after
Yeah.
surgery. You know, it's such a big deal to go through, and I think that's the one thing we always kind of want to say. It like going through any type of surgery is a big deal, but you know, it's a big deal. You know,
Yeah.
especially losing a ball. You know,
Aye.
it's a big thing. I can't thank you enough for coming on.
No problem.
It's great to to meet everybody, and as I say all the time, I learn about different things, and different things in conversations help me
Yeah.
still to this day, you know, and I think
Aye.
it's really good to to do this, you know.
I definitely, because one person might watch this and go, "That's how I felt." It might help people, or it might not. I would just say the big thing to take away is deal with it how you would deal with any problem. Is the best advice I could give. So just do that, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. No, David, thanks very much.
No problem at all.
Cheers. Thank you.